Welcome back to Project 613. We are learning a lot about tumas mes, which is the ritual impurity that comes from a dead body. And although this is only one mitzvah, nevertheless there are so many details in this mitzvah that Maimonides spends 25 chapters in his book Mishnah Torah detailing all the various laws of how this impurity can pass from one person to another, from a person to an object, to clothing, to food, to a drink, and so on. And there are multiple different levels of how it could be passed on. And it gets very complex, which is why even though it's only one mitzvah, nevertheless, it's repeated for numerous days because of all of the complexity of the many laws. So here is one interesting thing that Maimonides teaches us about this ritual impurity, and that is usually a vessel could contain and could catch this ritual impurity. So if this vessel touches a dead body, the vessel will become impure and everything that's inside of it will become impure. But there is an exception, and that is, what if this vessel was made from fish bones or from fish skin or from anything that comes from the water? So Maimonides rules that anything that comes from the water is immune to ritual impurity. Now, whereas the reason for this, again, this is what's called a chok, this is a divine decree, which is difficult for us to understand and it's beyond human reasoning. Nevertheless, there is a practical, inspirational message that we can learn from this law. And that is bearing in mind what's unique about the creatures of the sea compared to the creatures that live on dry land. And this will shed light on why creatures from the sea are immune to impurity and what we can learn from that. You see, creatures of the sea are always connected to the source of their life. They're always connected to the water. The minute they leave, they die. Whereas those who go around on the ground do not have to be attached to the ground. They can roam around freely. And what this tells us is, spiritually speaking, this represents that when one is attached to one's source, when one is aware of their true source, they are immune to impurity. They will always be doing the right thing. When one is aware that the true source of life is Hashem, they will not go against the will of Hashem, and they are then immune to any type of ritual impurity. But when one is like the creatures of the ground, which are not necessarily aware of the source of their life, and therefore they behave against the will of Hashem, that is when ritual impurity can come in. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.